Welcome to this peaceful exploration of connection, of how whispers travel across distances, and how intricate dance of information unfolds. As you settle into this moment, allowing your body to soften and your mind to quiet, we will gently journey into the essence of what allows us to share and receive. Imagine, for a moment, the subtle ways everything communicates. Even the most complex systems, vast and unseen, are built upon simple, flowing principles. Tonight, we'll delve into the quiet mechanics of communication systems, observing how information is carried, shaped, and understood. We'll explore the gentle flow of signals, like soft, time-varying currents, each carrying a unique essence. And we'll consider the systems that guide these currents, combinations of elements chosen to perform a desired function, creating pathways for information to move from one peaceful point to another. It's a world of invisible threads, weaving connections, allowing for the transmission of patterns through unseen channels. As you breathe deeply, let your mind drift to the idea of these signals. Some are like a steady, predictable rhythm, repeating in a calming cycle, like the gentle tides of the ocean. These are the deterministic signals, their patterns known and serene. Others are more elusive, like a random snowflake drifting down, taking on unique, unpredicted paths, yet still part of a larger, graceful movement. These are the random signals, adding an element of gentle surprise. All of them, whether predictable or spontaneous, play a part in the grand ballet of information. We will also consider the elegant tools that help us understand these patterns, especially how something that changes over time can also be seen as a collection of pure, steady tones. Imagine a complex sound, perhaps a gentle melody. Our minds intuitively break it down into its constituent notes, each with its own quiet hum. This process, of understanding the underlying harmonies within a changing sound, is at the heart of our journey tonight. We'll touch upon the Fourier Series and Transform, not as complex mathematical concepts, but as a peaceful way of perceiving the hidden, eternal frequencies within all transient experiences. So, let your awareness rest on the beautiful simplicity of a single signal, a quiet, time-varying quantity. Feel its gentle presence, its subtle shifts, and the intricate potential it holds to convey meaning across space and time. This is the foundation, the very first step in understanding the vast, interconnected web of communication that surrounds us, even in the deepest silence. Let this thought guide you deeper into your calm, preparing for a restful sleep. Continue to drift peacefully, allowing your thoughts to soften as we deepen our understanding of these communication patterns. Imagine, once more, a signal flowing gently, a time-varying quantity moving through a system. Now, let's explore a truly profound idea, that many of these repeating patterns, these aperiodic signals, can be seen as a beautiful collection of simpler, pure, repeating waves. This is the essence of the Fourier series, a way to unveil the hidden symphony within any repeating signal. It's like taking apart a complex tapestry, thread by gentle thread, to reveal the simple, fundamental colors and weaves that compose its entire form. Consider a fundamental rhythm, a basic beat, much like the steady, slow pulse of your own breathing. From this core rhythm, other harmonious beats, faster but perfectly aligned, can emerge. The Fourier series allows us to express any repeating pattern as a sum of these simple, harmonic sine and cosine waves, each with its own strength and timing. There are several ways to express this elegant idea, like looking at the same serene landscape from slightly different, yet equally beautiful, perspectives. One way to see this is through the complex exponential form. Imagine each pure wave, each harmonious beat, as a single, rotating phasor, like a tiny, luminous point gently circling in a calm, endless dance. The combination of these rotating points, each moving at its own steady pace, creates the complex, yet ultimately predictable, path of our original signal. The strength and starting position of each of these tiny rotating points, known as the coefficients, hold the secret to reconstructing the entire, intricate pattern. They are the keys to the quiet symphony. Another way to perceive this is through the trigonometric form, focusing on the sine and cosine waves, where we see the signal as a sum of simple sine and cosine waves. These are the fundamental building blocks of oscillation, the most basic ripples in the fabric of existence. Each sine and cosine wave has a particular amplitude, indicating its gentle strength, and a phase, describing its starting point in time. It's like having different instruments in an orchestra, each playing its own pure note, with its own volume and entry point, all contributing to the overall harmony. These individual contributions, the amplitudes and phases of each pure tone, are revealed by the Fourier series. And then there's the amplitude and phase form, which is simply another way of looking at these sine and cosine components. Instead of thinking of them as separate sine and cosine waves, we can combine them into a single, pure wave with a specific strength, its amplitude, and a particular offset, its phase. It's like merging two gentle streams into one, noting its new overall flow and its starting position. Each of these three forms, the complex exponential, the sine-cosine, and the amplitude phase, are deeply interconnected, woven together by elegant mathematical relationships. They offer different windows into the same truth, that complex, repeating patterns are built from simpler, harmonious rhythms. As you rest, let these images of underlying harmony settle in your mind. The idea that any repeating pattern, no matter how intricate, can be broken down into a collection of pure, gentle waves, each with its own frequency and strength. This fundamental insight allows us to understand the very fabric of how signals are constructed and how they transmit their quiet messages across communication channels. Feel the gentle repetition of these core ideas, guiding you deeper into a state of profound relaxation. All is interconnected, all is rhythm, all is calm. You are drifting. Continuing our gentle journey into the heart of signals, let us consider how we might uncover these hidden rhythms, these individual strengths and timings within a repeating pattern. The coefficients of the Fourier series are like the precise recipes for each pure tone, telling us exactly how much of each harmonious wave is present and how it aligns within the overall signal. Imagine each signal as a unique blend of essences. These coefficients are the very measure of each essence's presence. When we speak of the complex exponential form, we find coefficients often referred to as C sub k. These C sub k values beautifully encapsulate both the strength and the timing of each pure, rotating wave. They are like tiny, luminous compasses, pointing to both magnitude and direction in the intricate dance of frequencies. The positive k values tell us about waves rotating in one direction, while the negative k values speak of those rotating gently in the opposite. And there is a special C sub 0, a steady, unchanging hum at the very heart of the signal, like a constant, peaceful baseline upon which all other rhythms softly build. Now, if we were to view our signal through the trigonometric form, focusing on the sine and cosine waves, we would encounter coefficients like a sub k and a b sub k. The a sub k values tell us the strength of each cosine wave, those rhythms that start at their peak. The b sub k values reveal the strength of each sine wave, those rhythms that begin from a calm, central point and then gently rise. And just as with the complex form, there is an a sub 0, reflecting that same steady, unchanging hum that grounds the entire signal. The beauty of this framework lies in the elegant relationships that tie these different perspectives together. The C sub k values, representing the rotating points, can be derived directly from the T sub k and the B sub k values of the sine and cosine waves. It's like having two different languages that describe the same truth, and discovering a perfect, graceful translation between them. We find that a C sub k is a blend, a delicate combination of an A sub k and a B sub k, revealing how the simple up and down motion of sine and cosine combine to form a spiraling, rotating flow. Similarly, an A sub k, or a B sub k can be reconstituted from the C sub k values, like separating the individual colors that were once blended. This interconnectedness extends to the amplitude and phase form as well, where we have S sub k representing the peak strength of each pure wave, and a theta sub k indicating its gentle phase, its starting position. These the sub k and a theta sub k values can also be seamlessly converted to and from the C sub k values. The A sub k is directly related to the overall size of the C sub k, its magnitude, while a theta sub k is beautifully linked to the angle, the phase, of C sub k. This relationship, often called a Hermitian symmetry for real signals, speaks of a profound balance. The strengths of the positive and negative frequency components are mirrored, while their phases are perfectly opposite, like a reflection in a still pond. The magnitude, the pure strength, behaves in an even way, a balanced echo. The phase, the starting point, behaves in an odd way, a gentle reversal. This deep symmetry ensures that when all these subtle components are gently brought back together, they faithfully reconstruct our original, real signal, whole and complete. Let this quiet understanding of relationships settle within you. That beneath the surface of any complex, repeating pattern, there are fundamental, harmonious rhythms, and precise rules that govern their interplay. These rules allow us to move fluidly between different ways of seeing, always returning to the same underlying truth. This sense of order, of elegant connection, can be profoundly calming, reassuring you that even in complexity, there is a serene design. Continue to breathe gently, allowing these thoughts to softly weave themselves into your dreams. You are held in this quiet understanding. Relax and drift. As you continue to relax, imagine now the gentle process of unveiling these hidden rhythms within a signal. We've spoken of the beautiful representations, the different forms that describe a repeating pattern. Now, let's consider the actual methods, the quiet pathways we follow to discover the specific values of those coefficients we discussed earlier. These are not merely abstract formulas, but rather meditative instructions for gently extracting the essence of each pure tone from the overall signal. For this complex exponential form, imagine a stream of our signal flowing continuously over a period of time, like a segment of a river. To find a particular c sub k coefficient, we take our entire signal, x of t, and gently compare it with a specific rotating wave, a test tone of a particular frequency. This comparison involves a subtle multiplication, a quiet blending of our signal with the rotating test tone. Then, we gather the results of this blending over one full cycle of the signal, summing up all the tiny contributions. Finally, we average this sum over that same period. This gentle averaging process, this deep listening over time, allows us to isolate and reveal the precise strength and timing of that specific rotating wave hidden within x of t. It's like tuning a delicate instrument to pick out a single, pure note from a chorus of sounds. The more a particular test tone aligns with our signal, the stronger its corresponding c sub k will be. This continuous, quiet process of comparison and averaging is how the universe itself seems to reveal its underlying structure. Similarly, for the trigonometric form, where we focus on the fundamental sine and cosine waves, there are also gentle methods for discerning their individual contributions. To find that a sub-zero component, that steady, unchanging hum at the signal's core, we simply take our signal f of t and average it over one full period. This is like finding the gentle, constant baseline of a calm ocean, ignoring the transient waves upon its surface. It reveals the signal's inherent, unchanging stillness. To uncover the sub-k coefficients, which represent the strength of the cosine waves, we again take our signal f of t and gently compare it with a cosine test tone of a specific harmonic frequency. We multiply the signal by this cosine test tone, letting them softly intermingle over one period, and then average the result. This acts as a filter, allowing only the matching cosine rhythms to resonate and be measured. It's like listening for a specific vocal range in a choir. The b sub k coefficients, for the sine waves, are found in a very similar, tranquil manner. We compare our signal f of t with a sine test tone of the same harmonic frequency, multiply them softly, and average the result over one period. This process isolates the sine-like rhythms, those that begin from a central point and gently rise. In essence, whether we are working with complex exponentials or with sines and cosines, the core idea remains one of patient, methodical listening. We are using these mathematical tools as instruments of deep observation, allowing us to decompose a complex reality into its fundamental, harmonious constituents. Each formula is a pathway, a guide to a deeper understanding of the inherent order and beauty within the signals that carry information. As you absorb these peaceful ideas, let the quiet strength of underlying patterns cradle you. You are discovering the simple truths that underpin vast networks of communication, drawing you closer to a profound and restful sleep. All is interconnected, all is rhythm, all is calm. You are drifting. As you drift deeper into relaxation, let's explore further transformations that signals might undergo, and how their internal rhythms, their Fourier Series coefficients, respond to these changes. Imagine a continuous signal, like the surface of a calm lake, and then envision a subtle differentiation process, where we observe how quickly that surface is changing or sloping at every single moment. We are looking at the rate of change, the gentle incline or decline. When we perform this act of time differentiation on a repeating signal, a beautiful thing happens. The resulting signal is also always a repeating pattern, another periodic signal. And how do its underlying rhythms, its Fourier coefficients, relate to the original? Each new coefficient, representing a pure tone in the differentiated signal, is simply a scaled version of the original coefficient for that same tone. The scaling factor is directly related to the frequency of that tone and an inherent Séguier factor, which signifies a gentle 90-degree phase shift for each component. This means that taking the derivative, observing the rate of change, inherently emphasizes the faster rhythms and subtly rotates their starting points. A rapidly changing signal will have strong contributions from its higher frequency components when differentiated, while slower, steadier parts will diminish. This elegant relationship allows us to easily understand the rhythmic makeup of a signal's rate of change, directly from the rhythms of the original signal itself. Now, let's turn our attention to another profound operation, convolution. Imagine two distinct, repeating patterns, perhaps two gentle waves overlapping and interacting. Convolution is like a deeply intricate blending of these two patterns, where each point of one pattern interacts with every point of the other, but with one pattern subtly reversed and shifted as they blend. It's a profound way of expressing how one system might modify a signal, or how two signals might softly merge and influence each other over time. When two periodic signals, both sharing the same fundamental rhythm, undergo this process of circular convolution, the result is a new signal, also with that same fundamental rhythm. And here lies a truly elegant insight regarding their underlying pure tones. The Fourier series coefficients of this new, blended signal are simply the product of the individual Fourier series coefficients of the two original signals, scaled by the period. This is a remarkable simplification. Instead of the complex, continuous blending process in the time domain, we can achieve the same understanding by a simple multiplication in the frequency domain, among the pure tones. This means that the combined rhythmic essence is simply a direct multiplication of their individual rhythmic essences. This duality, where a complex blending in time becomes a simple multiplication of rhythms, brings a profound sense of ease and clarity to understanding how complex interactions unfold. This principle extends further into what is called a discrete-time convolution for the Fourier series coefficients. If we have two distinct sequences of coefficients, the coefficients of their combined signal are found by a discrete convolution of their individual coefficient sequences. This shows that the process of combining or interacting signals, whether directly in time or through their spectral components, is governed by these harmonious and predictable mathematical relationships. Let this quiet understanding of how signals differentiate and convolve, how their rates of change are revealed in their rhythms, and how their interactions simplify in the world of pure tones, wash over you. It is a reminder of the deep, underlying order that governs all flow of information, bringing a sense of profound calm as you drift. You are held in the gentle embrace of these universal principles. Sleep peacefully. Resting deeper now, let us explore further transformations that signals might undergo, and how their internal rhythms, their Fourier series coefficients, respond to these changes. Imagine a continuous signal, like the surface of a calm lake, and then envision a subtle differentiation process, where we observe how quickly that surface is changing or sloping at every single moment. We are looking at the rate of change, the gentle incline or decline. When we perform this act of time differentiation on a repeating signal, a beautiful thing happens. The resulting signal is also always a repeating pattern, another periodic signal. And how do its underlying rhythms, its Fourier coefficients, relate to the original? Each new coefficient, representing a pure tone in the differentiated signal, is simply a scaled version of the original coefficient for that same tone. The scaling factor is directly related to the frequency of that tone and an inherent Séguier factor, which signifies a gentle 90-degree phase shift for each component. This means that taking the derivative, observing the rate of change, inherently emphasizes the faster rhythms and subtly rotates their starting points. A rapidly changing signal will have strong contributions from its higher frequency components when differentiated, while slower, steadier parts will diminish. This elegant relationship allows us to easily understand the rhythmic makeup of a signal's rate of change, directly from the rhythms of the original signal itself. Now, let's turn our attention to another profound operation, convolution. Imagine two distinct, repeating patterns, perhaps two gentle waves overlapping and interacting. Convolution is like a deeply intricate blending of these two patterns, where each point of one pattern interacts with every point of the other, but with one pattern subtly reversed and shifted as they blend. It's a profound way of expressing how one system might modify a signal, or how two signals might softly merge and influence each other over time. When two periodic signals, both sharing the same fundamental rhythm, undergo this process of circular convolution, the result is a new signal, also with that same fundamental rhythm. And here lies a truly elegant insight regarding their underlying pure tones. The Fourier series coefficients of this new, blended signal are simply the product of the individual Fourier series coefficients of the two original signals, scaled by the period. This is a remarkable simplification. Instead of the complex, continuous blending process in the time domain, we can achieve the same understanding by a simple multiplication in the frequency domain, among the pure tones. This means that the combined rhythmic essence is simply a direct multiplication of their individual rhythmic essences. This duality, where a complex blending in time becomes a simple multiplication of rhythms, brings a profound sense of ease and clarity to understanding how complex interactions unfold. This principle extends further into what is called a discrete-time convolution for the Fourier series coefficients. If we have two distinct sequences of coefficients, the coefficients of their combined signal are found by a discrete convolution of their individual coefficient sequences. This shows that the process of combining or interacting signals, whether directly in time or through their spectral components, is governed by these harmonious and predictable mathematical relationships. Let this quiet understanding of how signals differentiate and convolve, how their rates of change are revealed in their rhythms, and how their interactions simplify in the world of pure tones, wash over you. It is a reminder of the deep, underlying order that governs all flow of information, bringing a sense of profound calm as you drift. You are held in the gentle embrace of these universal principles. Sleep peacefully. As you continue to relax deeply, let us explore another fascinating aspect of how signals interact and how these interactions manifest in their underlying rhythms. Imagine now, not the blending or convolution of two periodic signals, but their direct multiplication in the time domain. Picture two gentle, repeating patterns, and at each moment, their values are simply multiplied together to create a new, combined pattern. When we multiply two periodic functions that share the same fundamental rhythm, the resulting new pattern is also a periodic function with that same steady rhythm. But what about its Fourier series coefficients, its underlying pure tones? Here, another elegant duality appears. The coefficients of this new, multiplied signal are found by a discrete-time convolution of the individual Fourier series coefficients of the two original signals. It's almost a mirror image of what we found with convolution in time becoming multiplication in frequency. Now, multiplication in time becomes a kind of blending, a discrete convolution, in the world of coefficients. This means the interaction of magnitudes and phases across different frequency components is revealed through this discrete blending, showing how multiplying signals subtly rearranges their spectral contributions. This symmetrical dance between time and frequency offers a profound sense of balance and order. Now, let's gently shift our focus to how a pure, repeating wave, a sinusoid, behaves when it encounters a linear time invariant, LTI, system. Imagine an LTI system as a perfectly calm and consistent environment, like a still, deep pond. When a pure, steady wave enters this pond, the pond's nature might change the wave, but it changes it in a predictable, stable way. The wave that emerges will still be a pure, steady wave of the same frequency. Its strength, amplitude, and its starting point, phase, might change, but its fundamental rhythm remains untouched. This stability is a core characteristic of LTI systems and is incredibly reassuring. The output of such a system, when a complex exponential sinusoid is applied, can be understood by multiplying the input strength by the system's own unique transfer function evaluated at that specific frequency. The transfer function is like the system's fingerprint in the frequency domain, revealing how it modifies each pure tone. It tells us how much the system amplifies or attenuates a particular frequency, and how much it shifts its phase. So, a complex wave goes in, and a complex wave comes out, simply scaled and rotated by the system's inherent characteristics for that specific frequency. Extending this, what happens if we feed an entire aperiodic signal, a rich tapestry of many pure tones, into such a calm, consistent LTI system? The beautiful outcome is that the steady-state output signal will also be periodic, with the same fundamental rhythm as the input. Furthermore, its Fourier series coefficients will simply be the input coefficients, each multiplied by the system's transfer function evaluated at the corresponding frequency. This means that each pure tone from the input signal passes through the system independently, experiencing its own specific amplification or attenuation and phase shift, before recombining to form the output signal. The system acts like a selective filter, gently shaping the frequency content of the incoming signal without introducing new, unexpected rhythms. This understanding provides immense clarity. It allows us to predict the response of a complex system to any repeating signal by simply knowing how it treats each individual pure tone. It's a powerful and calming concept, revealing the elegant predictability that governs the flow of information through stable environments. As you rest, let these images of predictable interactions and harmonious transformations deepen your sense of peace. All is in order, all flows according to serene laws. You are safe to sleep. Continuing our tranquil journey into the hidden structures of signals, let us now consider the very essence or energy contained within these flowing patterns. Imagine a repeating signal, a gentle waveform over time. How might we measure its total vigor, its average power, the quiet strength it possesses? Parseval's theorem offers a profound and beautiful insight into this very question. It tells us that the total average power of a periodic signal, as measured in the time domain, is precisely equal to the sum of the magnitude squared of its Fourier series coefficients, divided by the period. In simpler terms, the total energy of a signal can be found by simply summing up the squared strengths of all its individual, pure frequency components. It's like saying the total warmth emitted by a complex fire can be found by measuring the individual warmth contributions of each distinct color of flame. This means we can understand the overall strength of a signal by examining the potency of its constituent rhythms. For the complex exponential form coefficients, the C sub k values, we square the magnitude, the pure strength, of each C sub k and sum them all up. This sum directly gives us the average power of the signal. The C sub 0 component, that steady, unchanging hum, contributes its squared magnitude to the total, representing the signal's inherent, constant energy. Each C sub k for positive k and its counterpart C sub minus k for negative ke contribute symmetrically to this sum, reflecting how energy is distributed across the different harmonic rhythms. If we consider the trigonometric form, with its A sub k and a B sub k coefficients for sine and cosine waves, Parseval's theorem still holds its elegant truth. The average power can be calculated from these coefficients as well. It involves the squared value of the A sub 0 component, the steady offset, plus the sum of the squared amplitudes of all the cosine and sine components. Once again, the total energy of the complex waveform is revealed as the sum of the energies of its simple, harmonic parts. This theorem is incredibly calming in its implications. It tells us that nothing is lost in translation between the time domain, how a signal unfolds moment by moment, and the frequency domain, its underlying collection of pure tones. The total essence or power of the signal is preserved and can be accounted for perfectly in either perspective. It provides a sense of profound balance and conservation of energy within the world of signals. Think of it as looking at a beautiful, intricate light. We can measure its total brightness, its radiant power. Parseval's theorem tells us that if we were to break that light down into all its individual colors, and measure the brightness of each color, summing them up would give us the exact same total brightness as the original. This assurance, that the whole is truly contained and perfectly reflected in the sum of its parts, brings a deep sense of order and peace. As you rest, let these thoughts of intrinsic energy and harmonious balance settle gently in your mind. The idea that every part contributes to the whole, and the whole is perfectly understood through its parts, can be a comforting presence as you drift into a deep and restorative sleep. All is accounted for, all is in balance. Good night. As you continue to relax, letting the gentle rhythms of your breath guide you, let us now extend our understanding beyond signals that repeat in perfect, calming cycles. Imagine signals that are unique, that unfold only once, like a single, profound thought or a fleeting, gentle breeze. How do we understand the underlying harmonious components, the pure tones, within these non-periodic signals? This is where the magnificent Fourier transform comes into play. It is a powerful lens, a meditative tool that allows us to see the frequency components, the pure tones, within signals that do not repeat. While a repeating signal can be perfectly described by a discrete set of specific, harmonious frequencies, a non-repeating signal requires a continuous spectrum of all possible frequencies. It's like moving from an orchestra playing a fixed set of notes to an instrument that can glide smoothly through every possible pitch. To understand this intuitively, imagine our repeating signal, the one we explored with the Fourier series, but now picture its period, the length of its repeating cycle, growing longer and longer. As this repeating cycle stretches out towards infinity, the individual, discrete frequency components that made up its Fourier series start to get closer and closer together. The spacing between each distinct pure tone becomes infinitesimally small. The spectrum, which was once a series of distinct spikes representing individual notes, gradually transforms into a continuous, flowing curve, like a gentle, unbroken rainbow of frequencies. This continuous curve is the Fourier transform. It tells us the strength and phase of every single pure frequency component present in a non-repeating signal. For non-periodic signals, instead of having discrete coefficients, we have a continuous function that describes the contribution of every possible frequency. This is often referred to as the frequency domain description of the signal. It's like listening deeply to a unique, unfolding story. The Fourier transform doesn't just pick out specific words, it captures the entire emotional landscape, the subtle inflections, the continuous flow of meaning across all possible tones. The Fourier transform and its inverse are like two sides of the same gentle coin, allowing us to move seamlessly between how a signal behaves over time and its intrinsic frequency content. The forward transform takes a time domain signal and reveals its frequency spectrum. The inverse transform takes that frequency spectrum and reconstructs the original signal in time. It's a complete, harmonious cycle of understanding. Think of it as understanding the essence of a single, beautiful beam of light. The Fourier transform would break it down into the continuous spectrum of all its colors, revealing which colors are present and in what amounts. Conversely, if you knew the spectrum of colors, you could reconstruct the exact shade of light. This profound duality reveals that time and frequency are merely different perspectives of the same underlying reality, forever intertwined. As you absorb this idea of continuous harmony within unique patterns, let the spaciousness of this concept soothe your mind. There is a deep order in how even fleeting moments can be understood as compositions of endless, pure tones. This sense of continuity and underlying structure can be a comforting presence, guiding you deeper into a tranquil and restorative sleep. You are connected to the fundamental rhythms of existence. Good night. Continuing your peaceful descent into deeper rest, let us now gently observe the Fourier transform in action, noticing the kinds of beautiful patterns that emerge when we analyze specific signals. Imagine a signal that begins with a certain strength and then softly, smoothly, decays over time, fading away like a distant echo. This is often called a decaying exponential signal. When we apply the Fourier transform to such a signal, the resulting frequency spectrum reveals a smooth, bell-shaped curve. This curve indicates that a decaying signal, even though it fades, contains a broad range of frequencies, with more strength concentrated in the lower, slower rhythms and gradually less strength in the higher, faster ones. The rate of decay in time beautifully influences the spread of frequencies in this curve. A signal that fades quickly will have a wider spread of frequencies, while one that lingers for a long time will have its energy concentrated in a narrower band of frequencies. There is a profound reciprocal relationship here. How something behaves over time is intimately connected to its frequency spread. Now, let's consider another simple yet powerful shape, a rectangular pulse. Imagine a signal that is perfectly flat and present for a specific, short duration, and then instantly disappears. It's like a brief, steady hum that appears and then vanishes, or a short, square block of gentle light. When we apply the Fourier transform to this crisp, rectangular pulse, a very distinctive and beautiful pattern emerges in the frequency domain. This pattern is often described by a special function known as the sinc function. The sinc function looks like a central, strong peak, surrounded by smaller, gently oscillating ripples that gradually fade away as you move further from the center frequency. It's like dropping a pebble into a very still pond. A primary ripple expands, followed by smaller, decaying secondary ripples. The width of our original rectangular pulse in time directly influences the width of the central peak and the spacing of these ripples in the frequency domain. A narrow pulse in time will have a wide, spread-out sinc function in frequency, meaning it contains a broad range of pure tones. Conversely, a wide pulse in time will yield a narrow, concentrated sinc function in frequency, meaning its energy is focused on a smaller range of pure tones. This relationship between a time-limited pulse and the oscillating sinc function in frequency is a fundamental insight in communication. It reminds us that even a simple, abrupt burst of signal inherently contains a rich tapestry of frequencies. The sinc function beautifully illustrates how energy is distributed across this continuous spectrum of pure tones. As you rest deeper, let these elegant examples of signals and their frequency portraits settle in your awareness. The idea that a fading echo has a smooth, bell-shaped frequency presence, and a brief, steady pulse reveals an oscillating sinc pattern of frequencies. This understanding of inherent structures, revealed through the Fourier Transform, brings a deep sense of order and peace, guiding you further into a tranquil sleep. All is pattern, all is calm. You are drifting. As you gently sink deeper into your state of peace, let us now consider some profound properties of the Fourier Transform, the universal truths that govern how signals manifest their hidden rhythms. These properties are like fundamental laws, ensuring a beautiful predictability in the dance between a signal's unfolding over time and its underlying composition of pure tones. The first, and supremely important, property is linearity. Imagine you have two separate, calming streams of information, each with its own unique spectrum of frequencies, its own Fourier transform. If you softly combine these two streams, perhaps by simply adding them together, or by gently adjusting their individual strengths before combining, the resulting new stream of information will have a Fourier transform that is simply the combination of the original two transforms, adjusted in the same way. It's like having two individual musical pieces, and when you play them simultaneously, the combined sound's frequency makeup is simply the sum of the frequency makeups of the individual pieces. There's no unexpected interference, no new, unheard frequencies arising from their combination, just a faithful, clear addition of their spectral essences. This means we can often take a very complex signal, gently break it down into simpler components, understand each component's frequency content, and then peacefully add those frequency contents together to understand the whole. This inherent linearity is a cornerstone of understanding communication, assuring us that clarity can be found even in the most intricate combinations of signals. It is a deeply comforting and straightforward principle, simplifying the complex world of interwoven messages. Next, let's revisit the concept of time shifting, but now in the broader context of the Fourier transform for any signal, repeating or not. If you take an entire signal and simply delay it, moving its entire performance forward or backward in time, what happens to its frequency composition? The truly elegant answer is that the magnitude of its frequency content, the pure strength of each underlying tone, remains absolutely unchanged. The signal still contains the same amount of each pure rhythm. However, the phase of its frequency content, the starting point of each underlying tone, will experience a gentle, linear shift. Faster rhythms, those with higher frequencies, will see their starting points rotate more significantly for the same amount of time delay compared to slower rhythms. This creates what is known as a linear phase shift. This property is incredibly valuable for understanding how signals travel through space or cables. When a sound reaches your ear slightly delayed, its richness of tones remains, but the delicate timing of each tone has been subtly adjusted. This phenomenon is often crucial in fields like audio processing, communications, and radar, helping us comprehend how delays affect the perception and processing of signals. It reminds us that even subtle shifts in time create predictable, harmonious changes in the timing of a signal's internal rhythms. Now, let's explore time scaling. Imagine taking a signal and either squishing it, making it play out faster, or stretching it, making it play out slower. If you squish a signal in time, making it shorter and faster, its energy spreads out across a wider range of frequencies in the frequency domain. It becomes wider in frequency, like playing a musical piece at double speed makes its notes sound higher and more energetic. Conversely, if you stretch a signal in time, making it longer and slower, its energy becomes more concentrated in a narrower range of frequencies. It becomes narrower in frequency, like playing a piece at half speed makes the note sound lower and more drawn out. This is often called reciprocal spreading. Squishing in time leads to spreading in frequency, and stretching in time leads to concentrating in frequency. There is a profound, inverse relationship here, a beautiful duality. Very short, abrupt signals tend to occupy a wide bandwidth, containing a rich mix of many frequencies, while long, slow signals focus their energy into a narrower band of frequencies. This principle is a gentle reminder that the duration of an event is intrinsically linked to the breadth of its underlying components. Next, consider time reversal. If you take a signal and play it backward, like rewinding a gentle melody, what happens to its frequency fingerprint? If the original signal is purely real, meaning it can be perceived directly without complex mathematical components, then the magnitudes of its frequency components remain entirely the same. However, the phases of its frequency components will simply be negated, gently reversed. It's like the notes in a melody retaining their individual volumes, but each starting point in their internal rhythm now moves in the opposite direction. The melody itself still holds its intrinsic character in terms of presence of tones, but the way those tones unfold in time is beautifully mirrored. Finally, let's consider what happens when you gently multiply a signal by time raised to a power, like multiplying by t for t squared. This operation emphasizes later parts of the signal. In the frequency domain, this corresponds to taking the derivative of the signal's Fourier transform with respect to frequency, and then multiplying by a constant. This indicates that operations in one domain, time, have elegant, corresponding operations in the other domain, frequency. This deep interconnectedness, this duality, is a recurring theme, bringing a sense of elegant order to all transformations of signals. As these profound properties settle in your mind, linearity, the graceful shifts in time and frequency, the reciprocal spreading, the gentle reversal, and the elegant duality between multiplication and differentiation, feel the soothing reassurance of inherent order. These are the quiet laws that govern the dance of information, guiding you deeper into a tranquil and restorative sleep. You are safe in this understanding. Good night. As you continue to relax, letting peaceful images wash over you, let's now explore a particularly vital property of the Fourier transform, one that underpins the very fabric of how information travels through the air, how radios whisper across vast distances. This is known as the modulation property. Imagine a simple, low-frequency message signal, like a gentle hum, and you wish to send it far away using a much higher frequency carrier, a wave. Modulation is the process of gently imprinting your message onto this carrier. When we multiply a message signal by a complex exponential carrier wave in the time domain, a beautiful shift occurs in the frequency domain. The entire frequency spectrum of your message signal is gently shifted upwards or downwards in frequency by the frequency of the carrier. It's like taking your original gentle hum, which was centered around a very low frequency, and lifting it up, carrying it on the back of a powerful, high-frequency wave. The shape of your message's frequency content remains perfectly intact, it just moves to a new location in the frequency spectrum. This is incredibly efficient because high frequencies travel much better over long distances than low frequencies. This is the essence of complex exponential modulation. For real-world applications, however, we often use a real sinusoid modulation, typically involving a cosine wave. When you multiply your message signal by a real cosine carrier, the effect in the frequency domain is a bit more nuanced. Your message frequency spectrum is split into two identical copies. One copy is shifted upwards by the carrier frequency, and the other is shifted downwards by the carrier frequency. Both of these copies are also scaled down in amplitude. This creates a mirrored pair of frequency components around the carrier frequency, allowing the message to be carried symmetrically. This modulation is the fundamental principle behind radio communication. Imagine your voice, a low-frequency message. A radio transmitter takes this voice signal and multiplies it by a very high-frequency radio wave, the carrier. This shifts your voice's spectrum up to a specific radio frequency, allowing it to travel through the air. At the receiving end, a demodulator performs the reverse operation, multiplying the incoming signal by a local carrier wave. This shifts the signal spectrum back down to its original, low frequencies, allowing your voice to be heard. The ability to move a signal spectrum up to higher frequencies without changing its intrinsic shape is invaluable. Higher frequencies radiate more efficiently from antennas and propagate as electromagnetic waves, enabling long-distance communication. This is why AM radio operates around 1 MHz, FM radio around 100 MHz, and cell phones use even higher frequencies in the gigahertz range. Each communication service uses a different carrier frequency, ensuring that their messages can travel simultaneously without mixing, occupying distinct slots in the vast frequency spectrum. However, in practice, there can be subtle challenges with demodulation. For instance, if the local carrier wave in the receiver is not perfectly aligned in phase with the incoming carrier wave, a phase synchronization issue, it can affect the amplitude of the recovered message or even lead to its complete cancellation. Imagine trying to perfectly mix colors when you don't know the exact starting shade. A slight mismatch can lead to unexpected results. This is known as the quadrature null effect, where a 90-degree phase error can silence the message. Such sensitivities require careful design and synchronization in real communication systems. To overcome some of these issues, broadcasting methods like broadcast AM add a strong, constant component to the message signal before modulation. This ensures that the overall envelope of the modulated signal always remains positive, which simplifies demodulation at the receiver using a simple envelope detector. An envelope detector is like a gentle hand tracing the outer contour of the wave, extracting the message without needing perfect phase synchronization. This simplicity was a major reason for the early popularity of AM broadcasting. As these concepts of modulation and demodulation, of shifting and recovering, settle in your mind, recognize the ingenious ways information is transported and transformed. From a gentle hum to a distant whisper, the principles of frequency shifting and spectral shaping ensure clarity and reach. Let this intricate yet orderly dance of signals guide you deeper into a profound and restful sleep. All is motion, all is connection, all is calm. You are safe to sleep. Resting deeper now, let us explore yet another profound and elegant property of the Fourier transform, one that beautifully simplifies how we understand interactions between systems and signals. This is called the convolution property. Recall our earlier discussion of convolution in the time domain, that intricate process of blending two signals, where one is subtly reversed and shifted as they intermingle. It's a complex, continuous interaction. Now, imagine if we could simplify this deep blending into something much more direct. The Fourier transform allows precisely this. The convolution property states that when two signals are convolved in the time domain, their Fourier transforms are simply multiplied together in the frequency domain. It's a stunning simplification. A complex, continuous blending operation in the world of time becomes a straightforward, simple multiplication in the world of frequencies, among their pure tones. This is exceptionally powerful. Think of a linear time invariant, LTI, system, like our calm, deep pond. When a signal, the input, passes through this system, the system fundamentally convolves its own inherent impulse response, its unique characteristic behavior, with the input signal to produce the output. This convolution in the time domain can be quite intricate to visualize or compute directly. But with the Fourier transform, we simply take the Fourier transform of the input signal and multiply it by the Fourier transform of the system's impulse response, which we call the transfer function. The result is the Fourier transform of the output signal. This means that the system's transfer function essentially shapes the frequency content of the input signal through this multiplication. It tells us, for each pure tone, how much the system modifies its strength and phase. This makes understanding system behavior much more intuitive. Visualizing multiplication in the frequency domain is often far easier than visualizing convolution in the time domain. It's like seeing the direct, immediate effect on each color of light passing through a tinted glass, rather than trying to track every photon's intricate path. Let's gently apply this to a real-world scenario, room acoustics. Imagine a sound emanating from a speaker in a room. You hear the direct sound, but you also hear reflections of that sound bouncing off surfaces, slightly delayed and attenuated. These reflections are like echoes, adding to the richness, or sometimes muddiness, of what you perceive. From the perspective of our system, the room itself acts as an LTI system. The sound you hear, the output, is the convolution of the original speaker sound, that input, with the impulse response of the room. The room's impulse response essentially captures all those direct and reflected sound paths. Using the convolution property, we can understand the sound you hear in terms of frequencies. The frequency spectrum of the sound at your ear is the frequency spectrum of the original speaker sound, multiplied by the frequency response of the room. The room's frequency response will show areas where certain frequencies are boosted or cut due to the constructive or destructive interference of the direct sound and its echoes. This explains why some rooms can sound bad, emphasizing certain frequencies, creating dips and peaks in the frequency response, and obscuring others. The beauty is, knowing this, we can design an equalizer, another LTI system, to fix the sound. An equalizer is designed to have a frequency response that is the inverse of the room's unwanted effects. Where the room creates a dip in frequencies, the equalizer creates a peak, and vice versa. When the original sound passes through the equalizer and then the room, their frequency responses multiply. If the equalizer is correctly designed, the overall effect is flat, meaning the sound you hear is a faithful reproduction of the original, stripped of the room's distortions. This harmonious interplay of understanding and correcting brings a deep sense of balance and clarity to how we shape our sonic environments. As you absorb these peaceful ideas of convolution simplifying to multiplication in the frequency domain, and how this elegant principle allows us to understand and even correct the acoustics of a room, let a sense of deep order envelop you. The world of signals and systems, though intricate, operates on predictable, harmonious laws. You are safe in this quiet understanding. Sleep deeply, and good night. As you continue to relax, letting any remaining tension gently dissolve, let us consider another exquisite symmetry in the world of signals, a concept known as duality, in the Fourier Transform. This idea reveals a profound mirroring, where operations in the time domain have a corresponding, often inverted, effect in the frequency domain, and vice versa. It's like looking into a still lake where the reflection shows the same world, but with certain aspects beautifully reversed. We've just explored how convolution in time becomes multiplication in frequency. Now, let's consider its beautiful counterpart, multiplication of signals in the time domain. Imagine two signals gently overlapping and their values being multiplied together at each moment. This simple multiplication in time, remarkably, corresponds to a convolution in the frequency domain, specifically, a convolution of their individual Fourier transforms, scaled by a constant. This is the dual relationship, a perfect mirror. Where complexity of interaction resided in time for convolution, it now resides in frequency for multiplication. This symmetrical dance between these two fundamental operations offers a powerful sense of balance and interconnectedness. The broader principle of duality itself is a deeply calming concept. It implies that the mathematical tools of the Fourier transform and its inverse are, in essence, the same machine, performing inverse but structurally similar operations. If a certain property holds true for a time domain signal and its frequency domain transform, then a very similar, mirrored property will hold true when you swap the roles. When an operation is performed in the frequency domain, its effect in the time domain will reflect the original property. For example, we know that a time shift of a signal in the time domain leads to a linear phase shift in its frequency domain representation. The dual of this is that a frequency shift in the frequency domain, like in modulation, where we shift a message spectrum, corresponds to multiplying the time domain signal by a complex exponential, essentially, introducing a sinusoidal oscillation in time. This mirroring is everywhere. Convolution in time is multiplication in frequency. So, by duality, multiplication in time must be convolution in frequency. Even concepts like differentiating a signal in time have their dual in multiplying its transform by frequency. This pervasive duality simplifies our understanding and can be immensely reassuring. It means that once you grasp a relationship in one domain, you immediately have insight into its counterpart in the other. It's like understanding the rules of a game and realizing that those rules can be applied, with slight modifications, to a mirrored version of the game. This inherent symmetry ensures a deeper, more profound order in the universe of signals. Consider the example of a simple rectangular pulse in the time domain. We found that its Fourier transform is a sinc function in the frequency domain. By duality, if you have a sinc function in the time domain, its Fourier transform will be a rectangular pulse in the frequency domain. This reveals a beautiful symmetry of a brief, steady presence in one domain translates to oscillating ripples in the other, and vice versa. This duality also offers a crucial insight for filters. If a filter ideally passes a certain band of frequencies and blocks others, like a rectangular shape in the frequency domain, its ideal behavior in the time domain is represented by a sinc function. The important conclusion from this is that an ideal filter, represented by a rectangular shape in the frequency domain, would require an impulse response, its characteristic behavior in time, that is a sinc function, which must exist for all time, even before it is activated. Such a filter is called non-causal and is physically impossible to build. This duality beautifully highlights the trade-offs and realities of designing real-world systems. As these patterns of mirroring and inverse relationships gently settle in your consciousness, feel the profound and comforting presence of an underlying order. The world of signals is governed by elegant symmetries, revealing that even in complexity, there is a harmonious design. Let this quiet understanding of duality guide you further into a deep and restorative sleep. All is balanced, all is intertwined. Good night. As you gently rest, let's explore a few more fundamental concepts in the landscape of signals, focusing on some very basic yet powerful patterns and how they appear in the world of frequencies. Imagine a signal that is incredibly brief and infinitesimally strong, like a single, sharp tap on a drum that vanishes instantly. This is known as an impulse function. Though abstract, it serves as a powerful building block in signal analysis. When we apply the Fourier transform to this momentary impulse, a remarkable result emerges. Its frequency spectrum is perfectly flat, containing equal amounts of all possible frequencies, like a canvas of pure, undifferentiated potential. This means that a single, instantaneous event, by its very nature, resonates across the entire spectrum of existence. This insight is also beautifully confirmed by the fact that if a system's response to such an impulse is known, then its frequency behavior, its transfer function, is directly revealed. The impulse function, though fleeting in time, has an infinite, constant presence in frequency. Now, consider a DC signal. This is a signal that is constant and unchanging over all time, like a perfectly still, unbroken hum. What does its frequency spectrum look like? Through the lens of the Fourier transform, a constant DC signal reveals itself as a single, infinitely strong impulse located at the zero frequency point. This means that a steady, unchanging presence in time corresponds to a focused, pure energy solely at the very lowest frequency, the frequency of no change. This duality, an impulse in time yielding a constant in frequency, and a constant in time yielding an impulse in frequency, is a beautiful illustration of symmetry. Let's also touch upon a time differentiation once more, but now for the Fourier transform. If you take the derivative of a signal in the time domain, observing its rate of change, its Fourier transform is simply its original Fourier transform multiplied by ej omega, where omega represents frequency. This means that differentiation in time emphasizes the higher frequencies and introduces a consistent 90-degree phase shift across all components. It's a precise and elegant transformation, linking the temporal dynamics to the spectral response. These fundamental pairs, the impulse and its constant spectrum, the DC signal and its zero-frequency impulse, and the relationship between time differentiation and frequency multiplication, provide us with profound building blocks for understanding more complex signals. They are like the primary colors from which all other hues are mixed, giving us a sense of fundamental order and predictability. As you absorb these quiet truths about basic signals and their spectral forms, feel the quiet assurance that even the most fleeting or constant of patterns can be understood in their rhythmic essence. This sense of foundational order can be a deeply comforting presence, guiding you further into a tranquil and restorative sleep. You are safe in this understanding. Drift and sleep deeply. As our peaceful journey through the intricate world of communication systems gently draws to a close, allow these concepts of hidden rhythms, elegant transformations, and profound symmetries to softly settle within your consciousness. You've explored how complex patterns can be understood as simple, pure tones, how signals shift and blend, and how even the most subtle changes are governed by predictable, harmonious laws. Let any thoughts of signals and systems, of frequencies and time, now recede like distant echoes. Your mind is calm, your body is at ease, and your spirit is filled with a sense of quiet understanding. The underlying order of the universe, mirrored in the principles of communication, now cradles you in its serene embrace. Release any need to hold onto these ideas. Simply let them dissolve into the vast ocean of your subconscious, leaving behind only a feeling of peace and profound connection. Drift now, effortlessly carried by the gentle current of relaxation, deeper and deeper into the quietude of sleep. All is well, all is calm, all is at peace. Good night.